So as an intro to this video, there's a couple things I want to discuss first. First of all, as you've probably seen, I've rebranded my channel slightly. I have like a new intro now and a new icon and whatnot. I thought the old Illuminati shit was really ugly, so I hope this doesn't bother people too much. But yeah, I wanted to make it look cleaner and whatnot, and I think I'm fairly content with the new design and whatnot, so I hope you guys enjoy that. Now, number 2. The other day I made an Engineers for Not So Dummies guide, and I read the criticism that was given to it, and I think it was very fair and accurate. People said that there was not a lot of substance to the video, and a lot of it was pretty much arbitrary and abstract. And to be fair, I think it's mostly true. So I'm gonna correct my wrongdoings now by making a 2-part video. This first video is going to be called the Unkillable Engineer for Not So Dummies, which is going to be like what you're watching right now, and what I'm going to be explaining in a little bit is a lobby of me, a competitive match where I didn't die a single time in all 3 halves. And the rounds were pretty close, so I didn't sit in a corner and do nothing. And in fact, I think I had close to top frags, and I did a lot of damage, mostly more damage than our demos, so I really contributed a lot to the team. And in the next few days, I'm also going to be responding to the other criticism I had, which was that I didn't really give many sentry spots, so I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be covering 3 really popular maps in TF2, the most ones that are played in competitive, actually. And I'm going to be covering mini sentry and regular sentry spots, and I'm going to tell you which ones are that people normally place and how they're bad. And I'm going to make an analysis of why certain spots are bad and why certain spots are good, and why playing aggressive sometimes is bad, and how to play passive and complement your sentry. But yeah, now let's get into this video. So what exactly are we watching here? We're watching a 9v9 demo. 9v9 is a competitive mode in Highlander. It's a pickup game, and I'm playing the dedicated engineer for this team. So I'm just going to go over this and give my thought process. People thought in the other video that I didn't really give an in-depth analysis, so I will. I'm just going to be analyzing what I'm doing. I'm going to be telling you why I'm doing it, and I'm going to really show my style of play. I think my style of play is fairly obvious by the end of this video. It's that I play kind of like a passive role of engineer, where I play as a complement to my mini sentry. Mostly I put my mini sentry in places where people don't expect it, and I bait people into it, and then I quote unquote 2v1 them into killing them. Now, to be fair, this first round isn't very close. I think our team did a really good job of shutting them down completely, but the 2 other rounds are a little bit better. So I'll be able to give a better analysis then. Also, for those who don't know, this is the pro version of Viaduct, which I believe should be replacing the regular snowy version of Viaduct when the matchmaking update hits. I think Valve has hinted at that, and that'd be really good, because this map is probably the most popular map in competitive by a really large margin in both Highlander and in 6s. So let's get down to the goddamn meat already. Anyways, as you've probably seen, I like to play engineer mostly passive, and I think the best strategy for playing engineer on Viaduct is to play behind the point and to bait people into your team. Now, it's not only as an engineer that you should be doing this, it's your entire team. In fact, the most common platinum strategy in the top division is to play behind the point, behind the rock, and to make sure that the enemies have to cross a very long sight line, which is, the point, and a very long spam area, so that they have to reach you. This means that your demo, your NG, and your heavy, and your sniper, in fact, are able to just pick them off while they're crossing the point. And this is exactly what I do. I try to bait people into our team here to take massive amounts of damage by chasing us, and by wasting their Uber there. They kind of just wasted it there by Ubering straight off the cliff. I feel like they could have milked it a bit longer by staying on point, but I feel like that one is not the end of the world. And you can really break up what I'm doing into 2 parts, which number 1 is obviously defending, and number 2 is obviously attacking. So now I'm a little bit more on the defense here with a passive mini style, but our team, as you can see, is aggressing, so I believe I'm going to be aggressing towards them and helping out with my shotgun. And I think, as you've probably noticed so far, I tend to use my shotgun a lot, and I'm sorry about the no view models, but that's mostly how I play, and I feel like it would give the most quote unquote authentic Aegis experience to show you how I actually play, which is no view models. And no view models is actually really useful because it doesn't clutter your screen, and it helps you aim more, which is a little bit of a shame because Valve wants to try and impose mandatory view models for the matchmaking update. So if we get into this mid here, there's a couple of things that I'm thinking of. First of all, their demo has been really good with this spam, and I want to try and catch out bombing soldiers and such. Now, their soldier did something really irregular, which I wasn't really prepared for, which was not bomb across point. However, their demo is just I'm able to walk across point, basically, do some chip damage to their demo, and they're not firing back at me, which is a little bit weird. our soldier was able to initiate really well there, and I was able to follow up on it. I think fairly overall, our team was really on point with this game. And I'm kind of like chasing frags here, but I'm not really overextending either. I feel like if I would have gone into the house, for example, to chase the demo, even if I would have traded with him, I think, in my opinion, that would have been a bad play. And I feel like this game overall is pretty much the perfect game that I ever played as engineer, mostly in terms of how to play the most helpful role to your team, I guess. Here, I mean, to be fair, our medic does get sniped, and that was like a major no-no. And I believe we do get punished fairly harshly for this, in the fact that we lose the point. And they do actually contest this round quite heavily, unlike the first one. And really, this was the type of like mindset or examples I was trying to get people to understand in my engineer video. But again, I feel like the criticism was very valid in the fact that a lot of stuff was abstract, so I hope I'm going to be correcting a wrongdoing here by making these two videos. So yeah, we'll see how it is, and I think they're going to be very helpful. And after that, I'm probably going to be moving on to a demo or a heavy guide, like the real heavy hitter classes. So yeah, what I did notice is that their team really liked to shoot my sentries, and in fact, I think it's because I had a very high amount of damage with them. As you can see, like, my sentry is just going off here and hitting them hard. But normally, it's hard to rely only on your sentries. I see a lot of players, particularly new players, who are really afraid of taking fights. You have to be really confident in your shotgun aim. Here, like, I took a quote-unquote fight. To be fair, it was a 2v1, and that was very winnable, but I still took it at 30 health. If that scout would have shot me once, he would have killed me, but there was no way that he could have known I was at 30 health. But still, I feel like, especially as a scout versus an engineer, you're at a pretty good advantage here. Now that's why it's important to play off your class's advantages and disadvantages. Engineer has in fact quite a few disadvantages, more so than most classes. In fact, you lose mostly every 1v1 as far as I can tell. Mostly, like, you're never going to win a 1v1 against a soldier of equal skill level, obviously. And you're probably going to lose against a scout. But you do have teammates, and you do have a sentry to help you out. And that's why playing off your class's disadvantages, which is again your low lack of firepower, with the help of your teammates, is really useful, and it's really actually pivotal to the winning of games. In fact, I do it quite often. In this whole game, I don't believe I get a ton of frags. I do get quite a lot, more so than the average player in this, because my aim isn't complete garbage. But I feel like a lot of my frags come from finishing off wounded players, or from other players helping me out. Like this right there is a really good example of how teammates helping out other players is like the key to success in competitive. On that note, it's difficult to teach a mindset of helping other players and whatnot, and relying on visual cues without telling you to play the game more. Now, it's fine to look at this video and take some things in, like, oh, I guess I shouldn't be so aggressive, and oh, this playstyle works and these sentry spots work or whatnot. But you're obviously going to have to play the game for yourself and play Engineer it for yourself if you're going to want to improve at it. Now, Engineer is a fun class. I enjoy playing it, but I also enjoy playing other classes. Also, playing other classes just in general, as in playing all 9, will help you improve at all of them. It's, like, for example, I main Soldier, but playing Engineer helps me understand certain situations and what an Engineer would likely do in a situation, so it prepares me as when I'm playing Soldier against an Engineer. This also brings me back to the point about a lot of people asking me how to get into competitive, and I'm definitely going to make a video about that, although I already have, but I'm going to make it a little bit more accurate. Back in the day, it was mostly TF2 Lobby and TF2 Center, but now it's just basically TF2 Center, as most PUG sites have died out, unfortunately. Also, there's been a lot of drama recently with the upcoming matchmaking as to how Sixes wants to be a more recognized esport, although more people play Highlanders, so it's becoming like a split in the community as to where people are trying to drop either competitive format, and yeah, but I won't talk about that too much. Maybe that's going to be for another video. I prefer to stay on topic here pretty much, sorry. Anyways, back to this video. Here they really have to just get on the point here, and as you've probably seen, I've been baiting people into, which is basically what a death trap. And yeah, we won 2 rounds here, and I feel I've done fairly well. I don't exactly have the highest amount of frags or the highest amount of points. Also, something I noticed is that, or maybe that you've noticed, is that I have no teleporter up. And whether this hurts the team is pretty up for debate. Normally, in regular matches where I play Engineer, I tend to put up a teleporter after I die. But since I've never died, it's kind of hard to put up one, and I feel like I would be wasting time going back to spawn all the way just for that. Now let's analyze the mid fight here. I exploited a weakness on their left flank by putting a mini there that would force them to either peek my mini on the left flank or stay on the right flank and eat a lot of spam from our demo. And I feel it worked out pretty well because we got a good amount of frags there. And there, I guess their spy was focusing me on pretty hard. I think during this whole game he got the call to focus me a lot. He's been like pistoling down my buildings and whatnot. And it worked pretty well because I was not able to put out so much damage. But in the end, I believe their spy could have done a little bit more, I think, by focusing, for instance, our combo. Also, one of the upsides of playing like I did is that you've probably noticed that I've been catching out their spy quite often. This is like a direct result of, as I've said, being passive and playing behind point. There's only few places that spies tend to uncloak. In-house, on the bridge, on cliff, and most of them are fairly common, and once you learn them by playing spy yourself, it's really easy to spy check them. Now I'm going to highlight a couple mistakes that I see the other team doing. First of all, as you've probably seen, they keep sending players behind us 1v9 basically. And it's causing them that when they have players behind us, and now they have players on point like this poor Pyro here, he's basically going to get focused down really quickly and just die instantly. Now what this means is that those players behind the team are basically baiting, which means that you go behind, you accomplish nothing, and then your team dies because you're not fighting at full strength. It'd be really easy to attack me and say that I've been baiting basically the whole game by having 0 deaths, but I feel like I've just been playing very careful. Only going in when the opportunity is really, really good. For instance, I don't feel like chasing that demo there was a really, really good opportunity. And I'm basically relying on my mini to take the fall for when I can't. And you can't say that any other class can do this, and I feel like that's one of the really good strengths of the Engineer. Also, in this sort of situation where I get the heavy pick, if I would have died there earlier chasing the demo, I probably wouldn't have got that, and I'm not sure anyone else would have. There's also a couple times where I come really, really close to dying this game, like this point at 8 health, and I think in the next 2 or 3 minutes I come really, really close to dying too as well, which is quite funny. A lot of it, me not dying, is mostly due to luck, but I feel like I played this really, really well, and I think it should serve as a really good example and a foundation as to how to play Engineer, mostly if you're going to be going to win, and not to look flashy. Now on the same topic, getting a lot of kills and looking flashy is not always the best way to go. I see this a lot, especially in scout players for some reason, more so than any other players. They tend to never let go of W, and to always plus forward you to get frags, even if they'll just trade a scout for an NG, which is like a really bad trade if you're the scout. They'll tend to do this just to get good logs and to look good, and this kind of way is bad. Chasing frags and making sure that like your team is basically down a player at all times is not a good way to win, and I feel like their team, especially in this, has been doing that a lot. Also, I miss a corner of the stab there in China, which is actually really funny if you guys saw that. I didn't notice it when I was playing myself. I kind of just really discourage that playstyle in general. Sure, you look good, sure you get frags, but your team is just never going to win once team's leveled off. If you're playing against a lower level team, obviously, or against lower level players in general, even in pubs and whatnot, it's fine to just run in, get 2 frags and whatnot, and maybe die. But against better teams who will punish you and punish your team severely for dying. For example, you go in as a scout and die, or you go in as any class basically. I'll relate this to Engineer. You go in as Engineer and die before push, even if you get 1 or 2 frags. If your team dies afterwards because you didn't have a mini to prevent their bombing soldiers or whatnot, that's pretty much on you for being an idiot, actually. And again, on that same topic, I think as far as you guys have seen, my minis have mostly been placed in situations where they tend to catch people off guard, and they tend to catch people overextending. Also, this particular sentry spot is actually really annoying to play against because the only 3 classes actually that can kill it really are the scout demo, or the soldier demo and sniper. And their demo has had like a really hard time killing it so far, and it's actually really annoying to play against, especially when you have Wrangler. But actually, my choice of pistol on this map is a little bit weird. I don't think I've ever used it that much so far in terms of gameplay, but the Wrangler on this map is just not one of my favorites. A lot of people tend to run it though, and if you don't like Wrangler, if you like Wrangler on this map, that's really just your personal choice. And here's like another example there. Demo overextends really hard into me, and I think I punished him, and I think for this, we're pretty much going to piggyback and win the game because of that one pick. So basically, yeah, I think this video is a pretty good recap of what I've meant to display in the first video and what I was not able to do, and I feel like I really want to correct some of the wrongdoings in videos and make them better like this. So yeah, in the next few days expect a sentry placement guide on maps like Viaduct, and I'm gonna talk again about why certain placements are good and certain placements are bad. And I'm going to be doing some other videos too. Maybe some unexpected ones. Like, I know you guys really like the Machina one and the Flog one, so maybe I'm going to be talking a little bit more about that kind of stuff too. And I really want to do one on the split community now that's happening with esports and TFTV and matchmaking and whatnot. But that's going to be quite a delicate topic that I really don't want to be biased on, and that I really want to give the most fair arguments for both sides on. So I'm going to have to say about that one. So we're pretty much going to be wrapping this up here. I don't think they cap in the next 20 seconds, and I believe we just take this. So this would be a 3-0 for the team. So again, I appreciate you guys for watching. This would be a 0 deaths game, which is really uncommon in competitive actually. I hope you guys enjoyed, and as usual, I appreciate a like. I'm going to be bringing you guys some new content fairly soon. Don't worry about that. So yeah, I've had a really lot of large support in the past few days, and I appreciate it a lot. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys next time.